Welcome back, my friends. This is Rebels United Chapter 4. In God's name we live, in God's name we serve, and in God's name we shall perish and die. Today it seems more adequate than ever because I do have a great story to share. But before that, I would like to introduce you to my guest. I have Joseph, my co host, Bhavin, my new co host, and then I have my good friend, Monster Matt.
Howdy, howdy.
So we know everything about Joseph and Bhavin at this point. Let's give Monster Matt a couple of minutes to introduce himself and tell us a little bit.
Monster Matt, and I am a paranormal and supernatural enthusiast slash being slash gamer and the other stuff that you can read on my bio. um,
Nice.
Thanks for having me, Koki, and hello, Joseph. Hello, Bobbin.
Hello.
Okay, so I would really quickly tell a story about Monster Matt and how I know him. So Joseph was my dear friend from Arizona because we were involved in film community. So was Bhavin. I almost worked with Bhavin on a movie project where he was supposed to play me. So I was very cocky, and it's just it just worked in a different way, which I don't regret. It was pretty awesome. I still wanted to have him in the next chapter, which I never got to make. And then Monster Matt was my neighbor in here in Chula Vista. And the reason I'm a fan of this guy is I might be getting it wrong, but Monster Matt was undisputed champion in high school for wrestling.
2-time Triple Crown champion in wrestling.
Wow.
And dude is built like a tank, I swear. But he is like so humble, so loving, so caring. And it extends to his entire family, his sister, his mother. Oh my God, these guys are excellent warriors. Once you know their story in detail, you I can cry.
Yeah.
At the same time, man, if you want to see a real example of real life people, those who don't give up their faith and their love and their strength to keep going, you gotta look at this. I swear, amazing, amazing. And I
Yeah.
lived next to them for at least 3 years, right?
I think it's about been 3 years. I lost count. I normally just keep on living and keep on kicking and just try to get things done.
Exactly. And today, so I'm gonna spin off a little bit and go with what happened with us, and then we can talk about other things with Joseph and Bhavin. But I want all of you know. So basically, I have a very crazy story to tell today. I'm gonna steal the thunder for a bit, or I will say the spotlight for a bit. So bear with me. Um, Basically, 3 days ago, I found out before even it was a thing that we're gonna get hit by Hurricane Hilary, right? And I have heard all the stories, and I always wanted to actually experience this, but at the same time, it was a little bit unnerving because after what happened in Hawaii and what we found out in the last episode, that the stories we are hearing from the people are, even if not all of them are right, there is some truth to it, and that puts it already in a very bad situation. So I started to not panic but get active. I started to feel that okay, this shit can actually hurt us really badly, and we should proactively prepare. Now, lucky for me, my family is not here with me. So I was all good, but I was really worried about everybody around me, especially the gym I go to and people I talk to every day. And it started to, affect me. That let's say there is some truth to what happened in Moai. If that happens here, we are gonna be in very bad trouble. Now I'm Democrat. I believe in the government, even if I don't believe in the president. That they are gonna do the right thing. But my faith was a little bit shook at this point. So I'm like, okay, at least as a person, you should prepare for yourself and you should prepare for anybody you can help. So, given that, I packed everything in my car. I started spending all my little bit savings left to buy rations, not just for me, but for anybody I can help out with, equipment, whatnot. And I literally packed up my car and I'm following the whole thing through, and it is looking bad. Like, again, it's becoming difficult because what you see on Twitter and what you see in mainstream media, you cannot decide who's telling you the truth,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So just constantly being reassuring yourself, and but at the same time, your instincts are kicking in that, hey, I have to. There might be a situation where there is nobody around me, and I will be the only one. So I have to be prepared like a warrior. So that's what I did. And I now where things started to get worse for me is I am friends with a lot of people in my gym. Not friends, but at least I talk to them every day. I care about them. My family is not here, but I know when you lose your family or when they go away for even for a bit, it hurts. So I did not want anybody to go through that feeling or that pain. So I'm trying to make them all understand that, hey, a hurricane is coming. 80% of the time the reaction I got, what hurricane?
Wow.
And at this yeah, and at this point it's already in the news. They are already talking about how bad it could be, and they're already talking about that it's already hitting Baja, Mexico pretty bad.
Huh.
And these people have no clue.
Huh.
And it just set more panic in me, even I don't show it, but I'm like, God damn, these people, what's going to happen to them and their family?
Huh.
No matter how much I can prepare, I cannot prepare for something like this. So I started shaking people up like, hey, listen, go check, please check. At least, why don't you listen to the news? Because we don't believe it. Or if you're the other way, then you're like, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. I'm like, it's in the news. How am I a conspiracy theorist? It is in the news. you know? So, but I
It's on
am
the
the kind
Weather
of guy,
Channel.
right? It's everywhere at this point. It's already a day ahead of us, 2 days at max. And I'm like, I just, it's such a poisonous world, and like at this point. But I am the guy who doesn't stop, who doesn't give up, and who doesn't know when to quit. So I kept preparing. I even talked to a couple of my friends, those who are in service. Some are telling, hey, it's nothing because government has not started to even act yet. If there is something, government will look out for you. And I'm like, yeah, but what I heard from people in Hawaii, especially from Davy, oh no, I cannot be sure. I have to be prepared. So I found the right spot where I will have food, strong build brick like mortar walls. And there's a hospital around me. There is everything that I will need in this community is present. And I'm trying to invite people, hey, if shit goes down, just come here. If
Yeah.
shit goes down, just
That's awesome.
you know
That's awesome.
no, it's not. I'm about to you will this is you will hear.
now I'm
Hold
gonna
on.
now I'm gonna hear
It's
the
not
bad part.
there. Yeah.
I
So
think the awesome part is having a bomb
No,
shelter.
the awesome part is your heart.
Yeah.
Hey, Koki, is the bad part you're gonna see zombies?
Oh,
wait,
Kind of,
I
I
right?
was
do.
ready.
I mean,
I
like
had
finally, my
everything.
prayers have been answered. I get to kill people without actually feeling bad.
Oh, I could have taken out so much rage in that way. Oh man. Oh man. Yeah, but okay. So the story continues. I'm already like, from what I'm hearing from the news, this is gonna be the worst thing ever. People are gonna die. We will see, like in the initial forecast, they're telling me we can see up to 10 inches of rain or 4 inches in San Diego and Chula Vista, and especially where Matt lives. It's a ravine where all the flooding goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really worried about them because I have still have few other families there that I care about. And I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, I'm not panicking, but in my brain, I'm just preparing for the worst. What is the worst that can happen, and how can I help people at
And
this
I'm over here cursing at Mother Nature. I'm like, was that it? I'm like, that wasn't shit. I was like, that wasn't
yeah.
shit. I'm just
we,
like,
we would
I
just
was waiting for the lightning storms too, and I'm just like, nothing. Oh, disappointment. I'm going back to gaming.
I know you killed the
I,
story right there, but okay, I will get there. Give me 3 more minutes, okay?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So what happened? I already said my goodbyes in a way to my family too. Like, hey, I'm not telling them what I'm planning to do. I'm just telling them, hey, this could be bad. And they're like, why are you not leaving? You know this 3 days ago already. You could have left. You could have just come over here in Atlanta and be safe. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I don't think it's gonna be that bad because it's all bullshit. It's fake news.
You could just go to Arizona and don't worry about any rain.
there you
Dude,
go. There you go. Come to
they were
Phoenix.
They were saying that even Phoenix and Nevada is gonna get hit really badly, and that's gonna be the worst places because it's a desert, and they're gonna get 10 inches of
But,
rain.
but
And I'm like,
remember,
what?
you gotta
It might
remember,
take 10 years,
Hillary
but we'll get
lies.
it.
I was gonna say, you gotta remember, Hillary lies. The desert will not lie.
I do have to say I do have to say that I joked that they finally admitted Hillary was a threat.
And that's the worst part, Like, okay, conspiracy theory time for a bit, but let's say it is a planned freaking attack, you know?
Yeah.
And then they name it Hillary. And I'm like, God damn, this is like a punch in the nose.
There goes the satellites going off, and we're being all of a sudden getting hanged for no reason in prison.
I know. He was like, and I'm not the guy who believes in conspiracies from the beginning. I know they can be true, but I would rather keep my sanity. I'm that kind of a guy, right? So I'm like, oh man, all of this, people are telling me forever, and I didn't listen. I'm such a fucking fool. This is gonna happen to us. It's Hillary. And so, okay, now I'm gonna cut short. So I try to convince my gym. I'm not gonna say who they are, and they kind of agreed that okay, if shit goes down, you can use the place, and I'm very thankful for that. Although when time came, nobody stayed back, so I was like, okay, it's locked. Do I have to break in? So I'm literally sit. I woke up at 2 in the morning. Okay, and I
Right.
started getting ready, put everything left in the car, and then I sat in front of my gym from 2 in the morning to 8:30 in the night till last night.
Wow.
And it was just in the morning, I'm seeing people coming to the gym, just going to work out, and I'm like, a hurricane is coming and these people want to come work out. I'm like, and they're like, nothing is gonna happen. And I'm like, I'm laughing and smiling that yeah, I'm just making sure if something goes down, then you have somebody you can rely on, right? But in my head, I'm like, oh shoot, these guys are they I don't even care if you think it's a crazy conspiracy theory or if it is real and it could hit you and you don't care, but you have to care about people around you and you have to prepare, because if you don't, then something like Hawaii happens and you have nothing, and you lose
Yeah.
your kids. And
Right.
that's what I'm
Did you
going
guys?
through in my brain, that like I have a higher moral ground at this point because hey, I'm at least trying to do something right for you guys, not even for me. But
Yeah.
they didn't care. They continued. Some of them were kind enough to say, hey, you're doing the right thing, and if shit goes down, I will be here. And for those people, I'm really grateful.
Yeah.
But I went through hell because for that entire 15 or 16 hours, I'm sitting in a car and just watching the trends and watching what's happening on X about the videos and what the CNN is telling me or what the government is telling me. And it's just like you're constantly questioning your decisions. But again, I'm a commitment guy. I made a commitment that I will be here no matter how stupid it looks. So I stayed till it was clear. And one thing I found out is government said it's going to hit us this, that, all right, all good, well and good. And they said they have activated 7,500 people. I did not see a single person. And I'm
Wow.
sitting there whole this time. You know, I did
Yeah.
not see a single person. They said their shelters are open. I went to their app, there were no shelters.
Wow.
I got I got two words for you.
So
Fake
at
news.
this point, my core shook, because what kind of world am I living in where somebody who is well intended is constantly criticized, scrutinized, and anybody cannot keep their promise?
Yeah.
I mean, we do live in a world where everything's becoming toxic now, and people are less believing, or that's not how it was back then. Now it's just everyone's just you know, uh, maybe selfish, but saying go. I have a funny story to add on with that.
Yeah.
I was in Chicago last week, and I know I was supposed to be on the show last week, but I had told Kelky I was in Chicago. But I was telling all my Uber drivers, because they all kept telling me, "Oh, how's California? How's California?" I'm like, "Well, it's just like here, except that we don't get no snow. We get nothing other than empty death threats from hurricanes." I come back, and all of a sudden we get a catastrophic for Hillary. I'm like, "Where did Hillary come from?"
They
I'm
heard
like, all
you.
right, whatever. It's probably another empty death threat, because I like what, like I don't remember back in early 2000s. I saw something like similar, like it looked like a hurricane, because I had this palm tree in the back of my yard, and I saw that thing getting bent, and I'm just like, whoa! I'm like those winds, those was very strong winds and everything. But I'm constantly looking outside, and going up to date, what happened to 16 hours ago. I'm still looking outside, and I'm just seeing the tree just being moved to the left and right and everything. I'm just like, oh, that's it. I'm just like waiting for it. I'm just like, really, this isn't really nothing. I'm just like, really, it's nothing. Like this is like same thing as last year's, quote unquote hurricane, and then the earthquake that happened in San Andreas. I'm like, that happens all the time. Like once a
Yeah.
year. Like they get hit that, just like here in California, we get hit with the whole forest fires like once a year too, which that's new ever since I was in middle school, because some of them were quote unquote accidental, and I'm just like, now it's becoming a thing, and then at the same time, I just looked at a video on TikTok about how someone revealed how Hawaii got hit by an electrical fire, and really it looked like a satellite blast, like a laser blast.
Right.
I'm just like, whoa. I'm
Yeah.
just like that looked like something from GTA. I'm just like calling it orbital strike.
Yeah. My
I'm
thing
just like,
is, it's so
And it's like, who do we believe
right, and
anymore?
it's so
Because
easy.
it was different when I was watching
So
these things as a viewer, and then it was different when I was watching this as a about to be victim.
Right.
yeah, so Koki, I
It
have
was
advice for you.
torturous. I
Yeah,
cannot explain it to you how torturous it was.
right. So I have
And
some
I'm
advice
sitting
for you.
there and constantly feeling like a fool because, hey, maybe the other guys were right,
Hey
you
Koki,
know?
Go
so
ahead.
I
For
have
I
some.
knew 8 in the morning that this thing is gonna skip
Yeah.
us. It's gonna go around. But I
So
still sat there till 8:30 in
on
the
the
night.
weather app too. I'm just like, okay, looking past what's gonna come tomorrow. I look ahead. I'm just like, it's all sunny days. I'm like, looks like this thing ain't gonna be that bad.
so so
I
let me ask
know,
you a
but
question, guys. So
I still
where are
had
you
to go
guys?
through the 12 and a half hours because I cannot rely on a single thing the
Right.
government is
Right.
saying because I did not see any
Yeah.
preparation.
So are you guys only
And
watching the
I'm like,
news, or you're
every
looking
time
at?
I came to my house 5 times, I drove back, and every time I come back, I start hearing more rain and more wind. And I have seen much worse in Chula Vista 3 years ago, 2 years ago. But I'm just worried that, hey, this is Mother Nature. You don't know when it's going to change course, and you have to be prepared and you have to be there for people. So I
Yeah.
had to go back every single
Yeah.
time, and my back hurts like
Oh
crazy
yeah.
now. But that this is what happened, and now I will give our other or my co-host now. Davy is here too. So let's go in order. All of you can express your opinions and views and theories that I would really love to hear.
But
Joseph.
before that, actually, I wanted to hear what Joseph had to say,
Oh,
and
Yes,
also Bobby.
yeah. Well, I
of
was
course.
going to say that
Go ahead. Joseph, your turn.
it's so easy to edit video these days and make make a beam and make a fire.
Joe, you still
You
there?
can't hear me? Why can't you hear me?
I could
I
hear
can
you.
You
hear
can
you,
hear
Joe.
me?
Yeah.
I can hear you, Joe.
Well, I don't know what's going on.
Oh, I cannot hear
Kalki
you,
cannot
Joseph.
hear me. Is it recording
Uh,
me?
Some, it's recording, but it's probably his speaker, maybe. I don't know. Can you
Yeah,
hear us?
I could hear. I can hear everybody except for Davy.
Well, the ask Kalki if it's recording me.
He's on mute right now, so
Huh? Well, just ask him because he can't hear me.
Oh, because I cannot hear, so I don't know how to drop it and rejoin.
uh,
Hmm.
If I end the call, then it ends,
yeah.
and I
I
cannot
think
hear
it's just a
anything.
connection. I think, but I could definitely hear Joseph and everyone
Huh.
else.
Ask Koki if you
What?
can hear.
What do I do now?
Oh,
Shoot.
he can see if it's recording me or not. So
I can see that it's
you can see that
recording.
it's recording me.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I'm just going to go ahead and say what I was going to say.
I heard Joseph for a second, but that's it.
Tell him I'm going to
Might be
tell
your
my story
connection.
now, and you'll tell him when I'm done.
All right. Joseph's gonna say a story, and we'll let you know when it's done, Koki.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, so what I was going to say is that editing video these days is so easy, and it's so easy to make a fake laser beam movie, with laser coming out of the sky and burning up the ground. That when I see those things, I'm skeptical. But and one of them, one of the ones they used was quite obviously an X rocket launch. An Elon Musk rocket launch. You can go back and look at the Elon Musk X rocket launches and see that very shot. So you got to be careful what people are saying, but a lot of it is very convincing as well. So I mean, there's stuff that looks like it really is beams from the sky. So that's what I was going to say, is just that we all have to be skeptical no matter what we're seeing now. And you're right, it's terribly difficult to know who's telling the truth.
That is true. And when you pointed that out as well, I was thinking too that I'm like, who got the footage actually to look at that? Being pointed down. I mean, the laser coming down and everything. Like, why didn't everybody else witness? You can say, are not saying this kind of stuff too.
I did.
Saying like I saw a laser or light coming down. That was
I
it. But
actually,
there are a lot of people
I
saying
actually
that.
heard a lot of people saying that, and there were a lot of different videos, and with everybody having their cameras and on their phone and been able to point and shoot the weather, yeah, I can see them getting a lot of it. The problem is knowing which shots are real and which ones are not.
Yeah. But then again, it's to me, it's like a one dangerous game of
Oh
Monopoly
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
of all these quote unquote elites that are pretty much being unveiled and they want to buy up property. Like recently, I heard about Oprah buying up a whole
Oh
bunch
yeah,
of property or offering people property. I mean, money for property,
yeah. Well, they want
and
to
so
make
that's why.
that whole island into a smart island, and that was already established. I think about two
Yeah,
years ago they established they wanted to turn that into a smart island, and now you see these people actually going after the real estate, and they're not even in mourning. You know what I mean? They don't seem to
Mm,
care about what happened. They care, as far as what happened to the people. They only care that now they can get the property cheap.
yeah, because it's like the whole saying about make the poor poor and the rich
Yeah.
rich. And you know that's a huge thing, that because my sister's a huge political science
Yeah.
major, and we go on with our, you know, I hear her a lot because she's more invested into it. Me, it's just like I have really good pointers and just be like questions too about this kind of stuff. And you know, and it's just like I rarely touch bases on that because, you know, again, I hate being looked at, you know, as a conspiracist. Or I also have a friend of mine who's a huge conspiracy theorist as well. And but you know, some of the pointers that he says, you know, were pretty good and interesting as well. But sometimes, you know, like the guy smokes so much weed, I joke about him, you know, or troll on him about like, oh man, you gotta stop smoking that shit. But some of it is true, you know. It's just like
Yeah.
we talked about before, the whole lockdown thing that happened, you know, in 2020, and me and him were like, every visit, every year, every time, we always talked about prepping, you know, preparations and everything. And this is like, when it happened, and we were just like, I was just like, oh my god, it was like if this guy was around, like, because at the time we weren't in speaking
Uh,
terms. But you know, I guess now we're like civil now, so I'm happy about that.
yeah.
So but I remember I had touched down on telling him like, hey, remember what all that shit that we talked about? I'm like, now this shit's happening, now everyone is like, you know, in panic and going crazy, or they don't know what to do, you know, they just do what they feel like it feels right to them and everything. But you know, in logical speaking, you gotta pretty much kind of be in battle focus and
Uh,
just, you know strategize, you know, what you got to do, instead of letting your emotions and your instinct run wild, you know, kind of thing.
right.
And so you know, and I sometimes, you know, look at the whole, I don't know what TV show was it, but it was about doomsday preppers. And some of those guys are just like, you're just straight up nuts. You can see it in their eyes. You know, they're just like not blinking at all. I'm just like, damn, that guy's crazy. I was just like, wow, this guy's crazy. Look at him, but he had some good pointers too. So I'm just like taking down notes of like the good stuff they have to say and everything, and just dismiss, you know, their little craziness and stuff. But or things that seem that excessive, you know, but to their own, you know, point of views, kind of thing. But it's just like, you know, sometimes people need to be more aware of their surroundings and stuff, because uh you know,
Yeah.
if you follow one thing, you're gonna be misled. So it's kind of like, you know, yeah, we should all look out for each other, but at the same time, you know, you're gonna have to let people just go do their own thing, because you know, that's how sometimes
Hmm.
disputes happen and everything, because you know, it's like, oh no, we should do this, we know we should do that and everything. Because it reminds me also when you had that gigantic earthquake in Chula Vista here in California, during Easter. And I remember me and my sister argued about, like, you know, like, oh, we need to go outside. No, we need to go hide in the bathroom. And the whole time we were just arguing during during that earthquake.
Preparing.
And it stopped, and me and her just like stopped arguing, and we're just like, you say we could have died just by arguing here.
So okay, here on real, I cannot hear Joe at all. So I really want to quickly hear from Bhavin and then Davy on the same matter.
Yeah,
If
Yeah. Can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you. Thank you. I was
yeah,
thinking
we can
so.
hear you, Pavan.
Sounds good. So, just one advice I want to give to you, I guess, you guys and all your listeners that could help. So, obviously, I'm sure you are listening to the news and there are scare tactics, right? But when I look at anything to do with the weather or anything like that, I would rely more on the meteorologist, right? So, like the the news channel, sorry, not the news channel, the weather channel, right? So, on that one, you can track any hurricane around the globe um, more precisely. So remember, I don't know if you remember, but like I saw one of your posts on the Facebook where you were worrying, and I said, don't worry about it. You're going to get about 30, 40 miles an hour speed. So that's where I was tracking that. It kind of shows you the projection and everything. There, there could be, off by 5, 10%, but if they say 50 miles an hour, you're looking at 45, maybe 55, So do that in the future. This is gonna help you extremely reduce your stress, right? So I heard you were stressed and everything, and you were like, trying to figure out what to do. So that's the one thing that might help, because I already saw that by the time it's gonna come to you, it's gonna be like a tropical storm, not a not a category 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5.
No,
And
I knew that, everywhere the projection was it's not about it's gonna hit you as a hurricane, but when it hits you as a tropical storm, it's gonna cause some serious rain, like 10
yeah,
inches an hour. Do you like 4 inches in an hour? So much of a massive flooding that it sweeps away all the cars. You know,
correct, correct. So let me ask you this: how much did it rain so far?
dude, it did not rain.
It did not rain at all.
It
Okay,
was like a joke. It rained probably like 0.8 inches, if anything.
It
gotcha,
was like an annoying hot rain.
gotcha. But in
Like,
case in
do I put on
future,
this sweater or not? Because I'm gonna die of heat.
yeah, but in case in future, just so you guys know, if it rains heavy in the future, the damage does not happen the same day. It's gonna happen. The river is gonna start flowing like 3, 4, 5 days later, depending on the terrain. But 3, 4, 5 days later, it's gonna flood. So just so you know for future cases. But
And
yeah,
which is in LA, and that not LA, but upper area, like I think San Bernardino and couple of things in that direction did have that issue. And if you saw it, Dodgers Stadium, I believe, is completely flooded. So,
got it, got it.
but the power of water is very strong. You know, it's
Correct,
scary because when you see the videos from, I'm sitting there watching the video from Baja California, and
correct.
how, and I'm like, holy.
So
So
basically, you're saying that was not much of a chaos compared to what you were expecting. One thing I want to add to this now, what I heard today about the Hawaii thing, right? So obviously, we all know. Well, I guess what last week when we were talking, we did not know that the aid was actually stopped. Of course, I kind of found that out later in the week that actually with Hawaii, what happened was, um, the aid to all the roads were blocked on purpose, and people were kept in, and instead of letting them just go where they wanted to go, right? So it kind of like was a catastrophe. And today, actually, I just heard that now people are reporting more. Well, I guess facts. They're supposed to report facts, but some of the questions that are going up is how many children are missing, right? Because now they are admitting that right now the recorded death is 101 or something like that, but they're saying thousands of people are missing, right? So one of the questions came up today was, well, how many kids are missing? And no one knows, right? Like they're saying no one has said any number to that. So I found that kind of interesting, because obviously we all know that a lot of things are happening with the kids lately, going missing, and them being used for a lot of other things. But I kind of found that interesting for Hawaii when the question came up today.
right,
So
that was really scaring me more and more.
scary, yeah, yeah. Well, that is scary, So I guess you guys are good that it didn't rain a lot, but I guess what you were worrying about could come. I guess it can come true anywhere in the world, right? I mean, but I'm glad that it wasn't as bad as what you were expecting. So
Not even close. Not even close. And I was more worried about the aftermath, not the event itself. I was ready, like, I want to see this hurricane. I will stand right under it. If I had a motorcycle, I would freaking ride it to it. I'm that kind of a crazy guy. I was not at all worried about what's going to happen to me or the hurricane.
The actually the weather seemed like Samoa. If you ever catch like the tropical rains that happen on Samoa, it looks like what people were expecting, but it happens all the time in Samoa, and it's just like they're just like chill about it. They're like, well, all right, whatever, kind of thing. It's just like it's their daily basis kind of thing, weather,
Yep.
and that's what it seemed like to me. Is that's why it wasn't so much in panic mode or none of that stuff, but I was more disappointed than anything.
I always laugh.
Same here. And I'm like, I was more mad at the government. Okay, if I trust you, I look like a fool. If I don't trust you, I look like a conspiracy theorist. And you could not even predict the weather correctly when it's right staring in your face. Like, not like, okay, you can miss it by 20%, 30%. You cannot be so freaking off, and don't provide anything. But before that, Davy, your turn, because you have been very quiet. I want to hear from you first.
Davy?
Davy, you're on mute.
I for one don't trust the government.
Me neither.
I, I, so while he is joining, I will answer that I am not saying I don't trust the government because my dad was a very high ranking official in India, and I know the stuff they go through. So I do trust the government because they provide something that will not happen without them. You know, they keep us safe from a lot of things, and we know human nature. We will kill each other for anything. So that's not an issue. But the issue is certain people in government, those who do not care about what they are doing to us, and they are intentionally using it as a weapon because it's becoming more and more apparent to me that that's what's happening. So I do trust the government, but I do not trust people, those who are in power and using it incorrectly, which is quite apparent from what is happening to Trump versus Biden in justice system. But before
The
we get
system,
into
yes. The people, no.
yeah, Davey, we are
Hey,
ready for
how's it
you. Your
going?
turn.
Yeah, the speaker button wasn't working, so I was like, I'm here, I'm trying to speak, and it just isn't letting me. So
Well, hello,
hello,
welcome to the show.
can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Okay,
I can
there
hear
we
you.
go. Yeah, so I was saying, I'm like, it wasn't letting me speak, and I'm like requesting a speaker, so I had to leave and come back to get that button to work.
Before you say something, Joseph, why am I not able to hear you but everybody else? Maybe if you can be a little bit louder, it creeps in once in a while. And back to you, Davey. So your experience or your comments on what we went through.
Oh, so with the rain and everything, so here in Orange County, they were saying like, oh, it's gonna be a hurricane, the heavy winds, and it's gonna be insane. No, it was some heavy rain, but honestly, we had heavier rains and longer rain like a couple months ago. Like it was like back to back to back rain, and it didn't seem to stop. It was like that just overnight, and honestly, there weren't too many areas again, this is in Orange County, so I don't know. I heard San Diego got some flooding, but it really wasn't as catastrophic as people think it was. So it was really nothing. I think everyone freaked out over how it affects California. It wasn't that bad.
Hashtag fear mongering.
Yeah, I think so. Or I mean, it's better to be more prepared than to not be, but yeah. I think everyone was just overwhelmed because this is the first quote unquote like hurricane or tropical storm to hit us since like the 1930s. So, because normally hurricanes don't go up this far. So I think people were just freaking out, not sure what to expect.
I think it.
No, but what was making it worse because it was triggering more conspiracies.
Yeah.
You know, why now? Why after Hawaii? You know, you go through these questions in your brain. Is like, I want to believe these people, but I know there's something going on that is not right, and it's happening.
It happens to be called Hilary.
Right.
It couldn't have been like Hurricane Hannah or Hurricane Havana. I'm all out of H names already.
Hunter.
Yeah. Or Hurricane Hunter.
Oh, this hurricane is
I don't know if it's supposed to go boy, girl, if it matters. Hurricane names.
They started
whoever comes
calling
up with
him
it.
by girls' names.
Yeah, I think it goes boy girl, but also it goes ABCD like in a line. So the last one must have been G something. Now it's H. I comes next.
Then
so
ones that just stand out like Hurricane Ike, Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Wilma.
Yep.
So yeah, there's that. And then
well, just wait for the K. When the K comes, then it's a Hilary.
That's too perfect.
Oh my god.
That'd be right on. And it's like, okay, something's afoot here.
So did you prepare anything, David?
Not really. As far as Maui goes, like, yeah, I was like listening into that last little bit, but yeah, the death toll, they're definitely keeping back the true numbers. They're like, oh, the death count is up to 36 and 40. No, there's like hundreds of dead people, and they're still pulling out corpses from the rubble of homes and cars. Like, it's not ending. But yeah, the roadblocks, I don't know if it's to keep back relief, But yeah, they are keeping the roads closed, so it's harder to get people out there to start cleaning up the wreckage. But they are allowing volunteers at the food banks, and the amount of volunteers is super high. Apparently, my mom and my stepdad went to volunteer, and there were way more volunteers than needed, which is a good thing. But
That's definitely a great thing. And what did you think about the missing children and Oprah trying to buy the land, and even the government saying that, hey, we're gonna take all this land and take care of it?
Yeah,
something
it
like that.
definitely makes me think that this whole thing was set up and the fire was just their way of doing it. Like 100%,
Yep.
especially if Oprah's involved, because that woman is so shady and so wicked. I don't trust her one bit. I don't think anyone should. If you do, why? I definitely think that she had some sort of hand in it. The government's been after that land for so long, but obviously the natives, like, that's their land. They've owned it for generations, and they, yeah.
So this is what I know. This is what I know from the three things that I found out this week. One, you're right. They knew, or this was, it's kind of like a premeditated genocide. That's what this was. We were guessing last week, but now I know for a fact that it is, because what's happening is there's one theory out there. Well, let me state a fact first. There's one fact which I want to say is that um, I saw somewhere that there was already a documentary and a book that was already being sold on Amazon like 2 days or 3 days after the fire happened, right? There's no way. Yeah, there's no way someone's gonna write a book, in 2 days and then publish it and already sell it.
Hold on. Joe knows how to do it. Joe, tell them it's a plug time.
It is possible if you let AI write the book for you.
Correct. But remember, this happened,
And it was
if you remember correctly, just
it was the very
month
next
ago.
day. They had the book on the shelf.
Yes,
the
next
very
day.
next day.
Right. And this should reflect on what happened a month ago. I think month or 2 months ago. Remember that Titanic thing that went in the water? Same thing happened with that too. Like the book, the documentary on Amazon Prime, it was already out there like that, like within like few days. And so this comes back to the theory. The theory was there's something called smart city. I'm not sure if you guys heard of that. So that's that was what was in the plan. So everything that you guys now thinking of, it actually adds or fits into it perfectly. The smart city thing is, yes, you're right. The government wanted to take this land up, and all the billionaires or whoever you want to call them, right? Bill Gates and all these other people who are just loaded with money. They're buying a lot of farmland and things like that. But they're now gonna want to make this a city. So what David just said is also true, that they are keeping help from getting in even now, because see, whenever like earthquake happens or some disaster happens, right? A human body usually cannot, if you're under the rubble and things like that, you cannot survive more than for 7 days, because of course you're going to shrink, because your fat storage starts using up because you're not getting any food anymore, right? But sometimes breathing gets heavier because you don't know if you're getting fresh air anymore or not. But the thing is, if you let this run out, let's say 7 days or even 14 days, and not block the help, then those people are gonna perish wherever they are under the rubbles and whatever. So I think this is what's at play right now, and they're gonna obviously make up some fake news and say, "Oh, we couldn't get here, we couldn't get there," but on the ground, well, no one's gonna know because again, first of all, media's not there, right? So they're not gonna be taking any pictures and videos. It's an island, hard to get to. But yeah, they're planning for big city, which is basically smart city, which is basically a test theory, where they want to make. I guess I don't want to say the word Atlantis, but basically, those are the concept, right? Like make it a paradise for the rich.
But they can track.
And then,
the point is that they can track every single living thing
And
on the
I heard somewhere that
on the island.
one of the WEF guys are saying we are gods and you cannot stop us anymore.
Right.
COVID come back and masking is coming back. It's like, Matt, what do you think about all this?
Well, we're definitely right on the right track, because backing up to what Bhavin was saying was that so I have another thing to add on to that as well, is that how we've heard that the government owes China trillions of dollars. So obviously the people who are the mega rich and the corporates are running basically America as a corporate and up for grabs kind of thing. They're gonna let them kind of like take over and do that because it's like you can't really. It's gonna be a harsh legal battle, you can say, against the money that they owe for China and whoever they owe to. So that's why they. I feel like that's why they have. Another question was like, why are they able to buy up the lands like that? Kind of thing. Well, because they got money and they can pay off some debts to for the government and kind of like let them you know kind of let them buy up these lands and everything. And going to also answer your question too about that whole mega rich, saying like, oh, nothing's coming back and everything like that. They don't know. Not even Jesus knew when was the end of time because that was super confidential for God. Because my only answer is that maybe whenever He feels like it. But people still don't want to test that. People want to test it, but they're not going to get that far. Many have tried. You know, like I
I know.
said, we don't
Mhm.
really know. We didn't know that there was going to be an earthquake coming soon like that with the hurricanes and everything. Because um I follow this scientist who's on what's called uh like he's a TikToker, but also like just to back up, just to make sure he's not all because of content or whatever. I follow like everything that he does, and I'm just like, okay, this guy's legit. Like he got his degree in USC in LA and everything. So he studies like everything on earthquakes and the Platonic as well. And because there was like this person who claims to be like a huge predictor, and she was just like, I predict this and that, and I'm just like, all right, you're just going by your own feelings and vibes. Like, okay, I get it.
What
But
did
one
But
thing,
this guy over here is who's like pretty much people won't see him as a scientist because he loves comic books. He looks like a comic book nerd, but for real, he's a scientist. And he's all like, yeah, earthquakes are not caused by weather. Weather is like kind of like something that can be predicted, and sometimes it definitely they can pick it up from miles away and then transfer that information to our phones and data and everything that passes through the news.
well,
But they don't know how long it'll take. It all depends on the wind and everything that's mixed with the elements as well.
so I would say two things to that, just to clarify for everybody, right? I mean, what you said is true, but I would say always question everything, right? So there's two factors that drive people, and I'm saying this as an engineer and a scientist, right? So
Mhm.
one, and I'll give examples too, so you guys understand what I'm saying, right? Um, there's always two types of people, right? I think Kalki said it earlier. You can trust the government, the good guys. You can not trust the government, the bad guys, right? Same thing happens in the military. There's a white hat, there's a black hat, right? Same thing happens in all professions. Whether it's doctor, like for example, doctors, right? When COVID came out, there were doctors who said, "Hey, this is XYZ." They're like showing people that this is what's happening. And then of course there were doctors on the media side who are basically lying, because, and the reason could be they're getting paid or whoever. We don't know for sure, but corruption, right? Same thing happens on the scientist side. And I want to say that people can change. So again, the scientists you're referring to could be, obviously on the good side. But like Dr. Fauci, they can jump to the bad side at any given time and we wouldn't know. But the second thing I want to say is whether underground is predictable, because, and again, I want to state out to a perfection, right? Things are only predictable only when it's measured by the devices that you implement. So for underground, what happens is they have a seismic, instrumentation that they put in. So sometimes they don't detect. So for example, if you cannot detect something by the instrument, the scientist is not going to know anything anyway, because and those are the anomalies where they say, oh, we didn't know, we didn't see this coming. But it's all basically we're relying on the instrumentation and technology. Yes, the weather up in the atmosphere is different, but the weather underground can be detected. So sometimes you might get earthquakes and things like that, where a pressure is released so far deep in the ground that we cannot get to. Right? For example, the the biggest hole in the earth that we drilled or that Russia drilled in the world was like 7.5 miles, right? That does not mean that in the future we cannot drill even further, bigger hole. We can, but that's like the limitation right now that we went, okay, as a human, we went 7.5 mile. That was Russia, and other people tried, they didn't get that far. But what I'm saying is, through those holes, we can install whatever XYZ instrumentation to detect something. And sometimes they will not pick up. Maybe instrumentation might go bad, or it's just not picking up the signal, it's not strong enough, and we wouldn't know. I mean, even the best scientists would not, to inform. Sometimes now, your scientist might have found out, but now he's trying to speak. So this is back to this group, right? People who are now aware of wrong and right, and they're speaking, but people will cancel them or block them, or use the algorithm to devalue their feedback on a social media. So, for example, that could be happening as well. But just wanted to lay that out, that people should be questioning all of these things, and always constantly question the reliability of the source that you go to, because they can always switch. They can always switch back and forth, and you wouldn't know. But
Damn,
always question.
well said, Bhavin. And like, man, you should be like a motivational speaker slash scientific speaker. When a lot of people who are listening to might be listening to us, or in the future, you will think we are all conspiracy theorists. We are not. I am very much far from a conspiracy
I'm a
theorist.
skeptic.
But when you see the logic as Bhavin has very well laid out, it becomes really hard to ignore. And then if you're choosing to ignore, then you're the problem, because you're
Correct.
like, other people hurt us. And I'm hating it that I cannot hear from Joe today. I cannot. So please, somebody repeat it once he's done saying. But Joe, I want to hear your thoughts on this, please.
Um, I'm not sure what to say now. I'm stuck. Uh, I agree, Bob, and you should be a motivational speaker. That was good stuff. Um, I really am a skeptic. I look at this stuff and I really wonder about what's going on. But then, like Kelky said, you watch long enough and listen long enough, and you see way too much to ignore. It's just, it becomes obvious what the truth is after a while. And I keep telling people that the truth is not hidden. It's not hard to see. It's hard to weed through the lies, but if you just spend some time really looking, you'll see it. It'll become super clear to you. So anyway,
Like finding
what's that?
haystack, like finding a needle in the haystack.
Well, not quite.
What did I miss? What did I miss?
No, he's just saying that the truth is never that hard to be hidden, and you just gotta weave through like a lot of stuff, and it's just kind of like the truth is a needle, and you throw it in a haystack, and you're just gonna have to find it, and it's gonna take a long time.
It's a little
Uh,
easier to find than that. It becomes clear if you
Man, I want
spend
to
time.
hear it in Joe's way, because he makes it so funny.
If it was me, I'll put the whole haystack in the fire and get the needle out there.
It'll just be in the ashes.
Okay, so I think we're gonna hit our 1 hour mark.
So Joe's not done yet.
Oh,
I
okay,
was
sorry.
just saying that you burn that haystack, and you'll see it glistening you'll see the needle glistening in the ashes. It's the truth will survive. All the lies will burn away, and the truth will survive.
For sure.
100% agree.
Well
Yep.
said.
All right, Kelky, you're up.
Oh man, I didn't get to hear it. Okay, so it's time for closing remarks. I will give each one of you 30 seconds, and then I will close the show. I will start with Davy because he spoke the least. So go ahead.
Cool. Thanks. So basically, all I have to say is question everything. Do your research. It would be nice to be able to trust our government, but there's a lot that they won't tell us, that they won't divulge. So go ahead, be skeptical, question everything.
Wonderfully said. Joe, you go ahead, and Matt will let me know once you're finished speaking.
Got it.
I really feel privileged to be a part of this. I'm really glad that these people keep joining us. And I hope more people will listen and hear us and enjoy what they hear. And I hope more people join and chime in. And this was a really good talk. It was really good hearing from everybody and hearing everybody's views. I really appreciate it, and looking forward to next week.
He's done.
Oh, I missed it. All right, Monster, your turn.
Well, I'm happy to be on the show. Thanks for having me, and good to hear point of views of everybody's, and kind of feel like we're all on the same page too. Even though, like, there's some things that can be explained, and some things that cannot be explained, but we don't know because there's some. You just gonna have to like let it sit there and just. Well, just like Joe said it, just kind of have to let it sit there and it'll unveil itself, sooner or later. And pretty much, yeah, just keeping eyes and all ears open, and just kind of work in the shadows, kind of thing. Even though sometimes you want to expose it, but it's just some things you're gonna have to play the government's game that way and working in the shadows.
Nicely said. And I hope you become a regular part of our show. I hope you enjoyed it. So far, our experience has been, it started with just me and Joe, and we are growing, and we're gonna keep growing strong. Bhavin,
Of course, I'll hop in anytime you invite. Just I got to work around the schedule.
you will always
Every Monday at 3
always have my
p.m.
help, brother. Always, it will always come.
Yeah, for sure. And also, I thought I was gonna mention about the comment that I made, or the post that I made about to reduce mass panic. Government's doing reducing mass panic through putting these chemicals in our what we consume to kind of like numb us out from the truth about the aliens. I think we'll probably talk about that like next Monday or something.
That was the original intent to have you here, and then
Yeah.
it went down. I did not plan this, but yeah, man, yeah, that's a big topic. We definitely gonna cover next week with you. So promise me you will be there.
I will not promise, but I will keep you informed.
He
Okay.
will be here if he doesn't get abducted by aliens.
Oh,
Let the truth out. Stop him.
The illegal kind.
Bhavin, go ahead.
All right. So closing remarks. I think Davey and Joe and everybody summed up pretty good. So I don't know anything to add, but I would say that, of course, question everything. And if you see that somebody's getting agitated, right, when you question them, because the liars will get agitated. So look for those, cues. Because if they get agitated, of course, just feel free to save time and walk away. Go to the different source. Whether you're getting, questioning everything and trying to get answers, or whether you're trying to help, like Kalki said early in the call. But basically, help those who need it, who are appreciative, also get information from those who are willing to give it to you straight up, right, without any lies. But of course, if you look at their information coming in, so can you always collect information, but look at the information that's coming in. If they're getting agitated by the questions that arise that you are, asking based on that, then look for those cues that if they're getting irritated and agitated, obviously they could be lying, and that's how you kind of detect whether you're getting the right information or not. And of course, you always get more sources, so you can always compare the information you got.
Wow. Well, very well said. Very well said. And it hit me in the heart because of my experience. And this is my closing remark today. I kind of agree with all of my co-hosts here and Matt. Hopefully he becomes one too. And what I experienced, it's for my heart, it's really hard to give up on any of you. It is. I don't know what's wrong with me, or maybe this is the right way. I cannot tell. Even if you do not agree, if you do not see the point, I still cannot stop fighting for you because you have kids. There is somebody good in there who's just getting misled and who's getting manipulated and used for an agenda which is so nefarious. it's really hard to even comprehend and believe in. But the thing is, no matter what, you have to look out for everybody around you, and you have to be aware of what is actually going on. Actually, you have to see all the possibilities, because a lot of conspiracies have come true at this point without any doubt, and you will be stupid to ignore them. I cannot. Even after going through all this pain, I cannot. And that's my closing remark today. You will always have us. We will always fight for you. And everybody who is against us, you know what is coming. Go fuck yourself and let us fucking peace. I want to thank you, Monster Matt, Joseph, Davy, Bhavin, for making this show happen today. It could not have been a better show, and it was a very cathartic experience. I was ready to die, and I'm still standing here, and we shall all prevail this monstrosity. Thank you. Have a great day.
You
Thank you.
too,
You
man.
too.
Later.